pregnant.
Welcome to our home birth story. I say ours because I feel like it was as much mine as it was little Sunny's and my husband, because he did so much. He did more than the average dad does during a birth, so I could not have done it without him. Anyways, we are so excited to share our home birth story. We feel like it is really special, and it is like truly everything that we prayed for, and we really feel like the Lord was very present just the whole time. I gave birth at home. I've always wanted to do a home birth ever since I was a teenager. I've done a lot of research and I just really felt called to birth at home. My outlook on birth is that it is a natural thing that women were made to do, and I feel safe birthing at home. And for my family, that was what was best for us. That being said though, I think birth is such a beautiful thing, and any woman who gives birth is amazing. And however a baby comes into the world is exactly how they're supposed to, exactly how, you know, God had planned it. So, oh my gosh. We are really excited to share our birth story and just to have it documented. I do feel like my birth was really special, and that I, you know, took a lot of, I prepared a lot, just physically, mentally, and spiritually. And it also was my prayer just that I would be, you know, united with the Lord just on his cross. And I truly felt that during just the most intense parts of labor. But with all of that, like, it really helped me to surrender and just feel, you know, united with the Lord and the Holy Family. With that being said, I'm gonna go grab my husband because he has a lot of key information and parts to the story that I just don't remember. So my water broke the night before around 9:30. John and I were getting ready to watch a show, and all of a sudden my water broke, and then I was like, all right, we're not gonna be watching our show.
I was on the couch getting ready to put it on, and then, yeah, she went to the bathroom, came out, it's like, guess what? We're going to bed.
Which I'd been kind of leaking the whole day, so I was like, okay, are things happening? Are they not? And then it was like, okay, this is clear, it broke. And so then I texted my midwife, and did we call her then?
Called midwife, she didn't answer. Called doula, she answered.
Okay, yeah, then we called her doula, and she was like, okay, great, like, let us know when things start picking up. So then after that, we were like, okay, should we still watch our show or not? But then my mom came and picked up our dog, and soon after that, like, my contractions started, and they were about 5 to 6 minutes apart. So already it was like, okay, I think something's gonna happen, like, she's gonna come tonight, so let's try and get some sleep. So then we went to bed, and my contractions at that point were every like 5 to 7 minutes. So John got some sleep. At least he doesn't think so.
I laid down.
I thought you slept for like an hour.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so, but.
Anyways, I did not sleep, but I rested my eyes. So
That's what I did. That's exactly what I did.
I thought you were for sure sleeping.
I can't remember.
So then, after at that point it was like 12:45, and I was like, okay, there's no way that, like, we're gonna be sleeping. So then we called our midwife, and she was like, okay, at this point, like, you can either, you know, sleep, or you can, like, go watch a movie, eat a meal or something like that. So we went out to our living room and we put on Ice Age.
The second one. The meltdown.
That's an important detail.
Trust me, that matters.
And we didn't end up watching any of the movie because the whole time it was like every 5 minutes I was having a contraction. And were you helping me at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Whole time.
So John was helping me during every contraction, just like with counter pressure, and it was different like as my contractions progressed. So then during that point, you know, I was laboring. That was like my early labor. I never had like any break time longer than like 5 or 6 minutes. And so then by the end of the movie, I'd like eaten something. I'd like had a little snack, was laboring, drinking water, and then by the end of the movie, things started to pick up. And by that point,
about 3:30 is a milestone for, I would say, when it got more intense. 3:30, and that's when I was texting back and forth periodically with the midwife about, you know, how she was doing, because she was handling the contractions pretty well. But I think at 3:30, 4 o'clock is when she kind of went into her mode. When, you know, between contractions early on, we were chatting, kind of laughing, having a good time. 3:30, 4 o'clock is when, you know, kind of went more silent, kind of like got into her zone. Contractions probably were a little bit quicker, probably about 4 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes out of long. It was probably closer to 3 to 4 minutes realistically.
it felt like my contractions were like 3 to 4 minutes for hours, and I think they were.
They were for hours. They were for hours. So
Which I did not expect that. That was one thing that, like, I feel like as much as we could have prepared, that was something we could not have prepared for, because every woman labors differently. So I had no idea that you could be at like that 3 to 4 minute like contraction mark for as long as I had been, because I was there for a good
because a while.
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah. And so, that whole time was just listening to music. We were right outside in our living room. She was on the yoga ball, pillows.
So let me set the scene.
You're
making it sound so boring.
I was getting ready to set it up.
So
It was gonna be nice.
it's in the middle of the night. I think there's like a little like snow flurry outside. My mom said it actually did snow at some point, but it was cold. So we had the fireplace going on in our living room, and it's like freezing in our house. So I have the blanket over me the whole time that I'm laboring. Like, it does not come off at all. The yoga ball, which is actually funny because I thought that I wasn't gonna need a yoga ball. I was like, oh, I may or may not like need it at all. I used it the whole entire time. So that was funny. So yeah, so we had the yoga ball, and I used it the whole entire time, but my contractions started to pick up, and they were about like 3.5 to 4 minutes apart at this time. And
At what time?
at this time. What time?
The filament. Yeah, probably about 5 or 6 o'clock. Probably about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why you're here.
Yeah, about 6. Yeah, that's right. I was tracking the contractions. So, yeah, we were out there for hours by the fireplace. Yeah, it was a mood. Fireplace, music, 3 or 4 pillows, yoga ball.
Yeah, so
And I was behind her, pushing on her hips, doing counter pressure for a little bit.
every single contraction. That's
For
why I
hours.
said he did more than the average dad does. Like, he was helping me every single contraction for 11 hours straight. So
It was intense.
yeah.
I know it was much more intense for her. Obviously, an unmedicated birth is intense, but yeah, I'm proud of both of us for how the night went. It was a good night.
Then at some point while I was laboring, it was so funny because I created a birth playlist, but I didn't tell you about it because I thought I would be able to just like play it. I thought I was going to be able to do so much more than I actually could. And so when my contractions like started to pick up, I was just so focused, and all I could do was like, I don't know, just be in my zone. So then John, all of a sudden, like, I hear music going, and John was like, well, tell him what you thought.
Yeah, I pretty much, like I said, between contractions, we were talking the whole time. I was able to help, with communication and say stuff. Yeah, once she went in her zone and it was more quiet and she wasn't speaking, I was desperate to find a way to help her more. I was like, okay, well, she probably has a playlist because she's gonna have a playlist. And so I looked on her Spotify. Sure enough, there's a labor and birth playlist. So I popped that on, and it was a vibe. It was good stuff. And so, but then from that music, when you were quiet, we were just listening to music. From basically like that was about 4 to like 6:37. Like we were out there just doing that, and I popped in Alani about 4 o'clock, and I was between contractions, which was I didn't have a whole lot of time, but between contractions, I would go sneak some sips of Alani, and it was very nice. More of the story is, it's hard, but then to the middle of the night, it's harder sometimes because you're tired.
Yeah, so this was our one thing is like, we pretty much like this was like the exact birth that I prayed for, but the one thing that we were like, Lord, please don't let it be like during the night, like let us get a good night's sleep, because that was one thing that we're like, we are not like, we will not do well if it's like through the night, because we like our sleep a lot. So it was just an added challenge of the fact that it went from 9:30 at night all the way until when she was born at like 8:24 in the morning. So that just made it so hard. All of a sudden I start hearing music, and it's my birth playlist, and it's just, it was like exactly what I needed at the moment, because it was like a bunch of worship music and just like vibey kind of music.
I would say if you don't know what a birth playlist sounds like, I mean, I didn't either, but it's what you can imagine, I suppose.
Some people's birth playlists are like different. I looked them up. It's so weird.
Yeah, it wasn't hard rock.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it was very peaceful.
3:30 was a little bit of a milestone where, at that point, she was asking how it was going, and once again I said she's doing good, but she's getting to her zone. Asked a couple questions, I answered the questions, how far apart were the contractions, all these things, and everything was looking pretty good. So she told me that she was going to leave at 6:30, get some rest, leave at 6:30. She's about an hour 20 away, or hour and a half, whatever it ends up being. So we kind of knew that we were going to rock and roll until obviously she got there, and we felt pretty comfortable with that.
The whole thing was like, we wanted to labor by ourselves for as long as we could. We didn't expect things to progress the way that they did, especially because everyone had said, oh, like first time moms, they have long labors, or like they push a long time, or all these things, and that was just not my case. Like everything went by really fast, but I also feel like I was in like the optimal position to help her move through and progress things quicker.
Yeah.
So when our midwife said that, she was going to be there at 6:30, in my mind, I thought,
okay, 6:30.
She was, that she was going to leave at 6:30. I thought, oh, she must know something that I don't know, that like, because things felt like they were getting intense, and like timing, like they just felt like, it just felt like we didn't have any breaks. I just thought, oh, she must know something that I don't know. So like, I'm going to trust her that that like this is the time that she needs to be there. So then as we continued to labor, it was around 6:15 when she said that she was going to leave, and she checked back in and said, hey, how's everything going? Sometimes when the sun comes up, like moms stop like laboring or progressing, right?
That it slows.
Yeah, it slows down.
You kind of get a little bit of a break sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what she texted me, so.
And what'd you say?
Yeah, well, at 6:15 she texted us, said, hey, I'm warming up my car right now, I'm going to leave soon. How's everything going? Sometimes when the sun comes up, morning hits, stuff can slow down a little bit, progression wise, and you get a little bit of a break sometimes. That wasn't the case for us, but that was kind of like the last update. Like, okay.
And didn't you tell me that too?
No.
You didn't say that?
Maybe.
I think you did, because I definitely think you did.
I did.
Yeah, you told me that, and I was like, in my mind, like, time was not a thing. It was like, it doesn't matter how long that this is gonna last. Like, this is just like what I'm doing, and there's no other way like through it. It doesn't matter how long. Like, the goal is just to get, baby girl here. So when she said that, I didn't even like want to think about it, but I was like, okay, even if things slow down, like, I'm still just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And that was all that I was thinking at that point.
Makes sense. Yeah, we didn't change any mannerisms.
Mm-mm.
She kept having contractions, and I kept pushing on her hips, and I think that was another thing that was optimal for the baby to kind of come through.
Say the part. So John would do counter pressure, and it was like just so intense. I feel like I had a lot of hip like labor, so I needed him like for each contraction for the counter pressure. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. But it was hard for him too, because it's like every 3 minutes, like our bodies are going through something, and for a minute long, and he has to hold this for a minute. So it's a whole workout, especially when you're doing it off of no sleep. And so he's doing one contraction and he's getting tired, so he'd have to like readjust, and every time he did that, it like was so painful.
I'd be back there, and mind you, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'd be probably about 2, 3, 4 hours in a row at this point, and I would be pushing hard, and because I know the harder you push, the better it feels. I'd be pushing hard for a minute straight, and near like 45-second mark, I would readjust and kind of take my hands off and readjust them, and she looks back like, every time you readjust, it feels like knives. And I'm like,
say knives.
It feels like knives in my hips.
I was like, every time you take your hands off, it feels like knives.
That's exactly what I just said. Like knives.
Okay, but you were...
Feels like knives. Well, I said exactly what you said. Or you didn't say it like this. You're like, feels like knives every time. And so, like, heard, gotcha. So then every contraction after that, it was just like, and also, we're right next to the
front of the fireplace.
So I'm right next to the fireplace, just squeezing her hips for about a minute 30 at a time. Little break, right back to it, and yeah, I would literally be like doing breath work, trying to like breathe. I'd be pushing, and once I get to like 50 seconds, I'm like really trying to hone in on that, because I was getting tired.
But after I said that, he did not slip up, so.
Not a single time.
Nope, it was great. So at 7:15, I needed to use the restroom. So I, came into our room, and there's a bathroom, went into the bathroom, and at this point I kind of like shut the door and locked John out. But I didn't have to go to the bathroom. In fact, my body was ready to push, and
you were in there for by about 5 minutes, and I'm just kind of running around the house thinking, what is going on, what's happening, and at that point you call out to me like,
yeah, he was nervous because I shut the door.
Yeah, so like, and I tried to get in. Can I get in? I'm like, and then one time I tried getting in, and she was like, I could open it a little bit, and then she pushed it shut again. I'm like, what?
Because I was like using the handle, because it's like a small bathroom, so I was using the handle to like, kind of bear down on it, because at that point, like I was going through like pushing. I completely like didn't notice that I went through transition out there. So with that, I was going through transition, but all of like the signs that I had learned about like were not as noticeable, because what I'd learned was like, oh, you're gonna be, hot and cold, or you may be shaking, or you throw up, or stuff like that. And I don't know, I think I was just so focused, and it was so cold in our house, and we were in front of the fireplace, that I was getting like hot and cold, but I also was like, oh, my body's like doing a really hard thing, like that makes sense. As you're sweating. And I felt like a little sick, but I thought, I was like, oh, that's because I'd eaten something, and like when you eat something and you work out really hard, like you feel kind of sick. So that's what I was thinking, but that was my transition.
Which is funny, because at that point she had eaten like 2 or 3 hours, but she didn't know that.
No.
Her brain didn't comprehend that her last meal was 3 or 4 hours ago.
Right.
And she's like, I just ate. It's like, no, But all this is going on in her head, so I don't know.
We, figured that you probably missed timing because, like, while, he's doing counter pressure, he's timing the contractions, he's, like, talking to our midwife. There was so much going on. So, and I think there were, like, some contractions where I remember, like, there would be, like, a contraction where I didn't need you. And there were only, like, a few of them. Yeah. But I was like, he probably didn't know there was a contraction, but I had I could not talk or do anything. So just kind of let that happen.
Only time I knew there was a contraction when she cued me in. Basically, it'd be like a little bit of a grunt and like go time. So if she didn't do a grunt, or a low moan, I wouldn't have known. And so she had some of those between contractions. So yeah, it went from 5 to 4 to 3 minutes to like 2.5 minutes, but it could have been quicker than that because I missed probably, I don't know, several.
Yeah.
Or a few at least.
That was the transition that I we skipped over, but so then I'm in my bathroom and like ready to push. So I, start feeling all these urges to like push and do that. And when I realized that was happening, I open the door and I yell at John and I'm like, John, call our midwife and tell her I feel like pushing.
Then I give her a ring. And she says, like, oh, okay, first time, like don't worry, like, first time mom sometimes push for an hour, 2, 3 hours, it just depends, but, I'm 40 minutes away, like, you guys are doing great, you'll be fine, if you need to call, if it's getting to that moment, if you need to call, and I'll help you through it. I was like, all right, that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence, gave Lizzie a little bit of confidence.
And I could hear her, too, so I was like, wow, she's super calm, and she said, like, first time moms usually push for over an hour. And I was thinking, like, as I'm laboring, like, on the toilet, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be here another hour. Like, I just had this feeling that, like, it wasn't going to be long. And, yeah.
At that point, that's when, like, okay, so I went and grabbed her water from there. I got her a couple towels, couple towels for her body, cold towels, started filling up the tub. And yeah, it was kind of a lot of running back and forth while she's laboring, kind of by herself in the bathroom. I'm in there, then I'm also out of there. It's just a lot of running around and kind of.
Which I was fine with because it was crazy. It just wasn't what I expected it to be like.
She started singing and stuff. Which I didn't expect either. It's like she's harmonizing over here.
I was very vocal, but anyways, so I'd planned to use our tub and to birth in the tub and to be in the tub by the time, transition hit. But we had no idea, like, that was happening and our tub was not ready and we thought we'd have extra hands to help us. So the tub was not ready and while I'm, pushing in the bathroom, John's, like, running back and forth trying to get the tub ready and I'm just, like, at some point it was, like, too much to sit on the toilet. Like, there was so much gravity just like pulling down that I had to stand, but I also was just like so exhausted and it was just so much like weight coming down that I needed John. And so I don't even remember like how that all formed.
I came back one time and you were standing up and then I grabbed underneath your arms and held you up and then you're like, this is where I'm staying.
Did you do that or did I hold on to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were standing up and I was tired. I thought I either took under your arms or you grabbed over mine. I don't know who initiated the holding process, but I was holding you up probably at like 7:30, 7:45, and then she continued to labor and kind of feel the urges to push, obviously, at 7:30, and then.
Well, so there's like a rag on my head, on my neck, down there at one point, and I'm holding on to John. So we were like that for like 40 minutes, which I didn't think it felt like that long, but
I did.
Yeah, obviously for you it did. At this point, I can feel her head start to crown, and I reach down and I can feel it, and our midwife is still not here.
Maybe, 15 minutes away. I think she texted me, but I didn't really read it. I was busy.
Yeah, you were holding me up the whole time.
Yeah.
And so I was you know, waiting with like each of my contractions to push. So then another contraction came and I had pushed more of her head out, which at the time I thought it was just like her forehead, but it was actually her whole head. And I reached down and I could feel it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, John, like she has hair. And then he just starts bawling.
No, I didn't bawl.
Yes, you were.
I was sniffling.
It's okay, it's sweet. After her head came out and I said that, he's like, did you say just wait? Were you like, just wait, like our midwife will be here soon?
Yeah, probably. I'm like,
You're like, just wait, our midwife will be here soon. And I'm like, I don't know, I think you're gonna have to catch her.
I did a lot of preparation for this home birth, and that was the one thing I was like, all right, like I don't know I would be able to do it, but I'd never done that before.
I want to do that.
Yeah, it's like that'd be a lot, like, but
you're like, I think I want to be by your face, and you were.
yeah, right. I was the expectation. It's like I'll be up by your face and it'll be all good, and I'll whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and you'll love it. And then you're like, you're gonna have to catch it. I was like, okay.
You're like, no, our midwife will be here soon.
Yeah.
So then I hear the door, and like right after I said that, I think, right?
Shortly
then,
after, a minute maybe.
Yeah, then the midwife comes in, and she comes in and she's like, hey guys, how's everything doing? How's everyone?
How's everything going? How's everyone doing?
Yeah,
that.
And I just don't think she like realized probably how far I was until the call that we had with her. And I was like, I can feel her head. And then from her perspective, what she told us like the next day, she could see the head, and she was like, oh, how long's the head been out? And I was like, I had no like sense of time. I was like, I don't know, a few minutes. I thought it was like 1 to 2. It had been a little bit longer than that. And she was like, okay, let's get her out. So then like turned me around, reached in under her shoulders, and was like, I think she said, give me a push.
One big push.
Yeah, one big push. And then like brought her out. And at that time she was a little blue because she'd been in there a while. So she unwrapped the cord and then, you know, rubbed her back, and quickly like she turned pink and was crying. So then we came to the bed and birthed the placenta. You cut the cord after it stopped pulsing, and we did her newborn exam at home and
took a fat nap.
Took a nap after, and that was amazing. So
that might have been the best nap I've ever had. I think it was like a 3-hour nap. It felt like 2 minutes. I mean, it was a great nap, but it was
I think I only slept for an hour because I was just like looking at her like, you're perfect.
I slept pretty good. But yeah, I slept in my bed, you know, an hour after. Because they did check. I mean, they did a bunch of stuff for like an hour, you know, maybe even 2 hours. Once again, time's hard.
They were here for like 3 or 4 hours.
They were here for 3 or 4.
So, you know, they did my care and then they did hers and
helped clean up, and then, yeah, we rested, and then they, yeah, did all that stuff. Then we took a nap, and then that was kind of it. Mm-hmm. That's how it went.
Yep. We loved being at home. I couldn't imagine like going to the hospital during transition because that was so intense. But yeah, anything you have to add?
I think that was a big thing for us, is that we did 9 months of preparation and classes and conversations and books, and obviously, you know, spiritual work and mental work and physical work to make it happen, and we're proud of that, obviously, and mm-hmm. we would recommend it to people. You know, our experience was a good one. You know, not flawless, but no birth is flawless, obviously. Mm-hmm. So we're now armed with more information to and experience to do it even better next time. You know, like I said, it didn't go exactly according to plan, but when does it ever fully? But I'd say it was a great experience and very comfortable, mm-hmm. and I enjoyed it. I know Lizzie did as well, obviously.
And everyone had said to me that like your birth is not going to go as you plan, and I don't know, that kind of like rubbed me wrong just because I heard it so many times, because I think that you can have like a desire for your birth, but also like being able to surrender like what that is and like what the actual outcome is, which we had, you know, a desire and our desires were met, but like in the exact, you know, plan, no, but like it happened exactly how God intended it to. So
yeah,
that's our home birth story.
Yeah, Yeah. Do you want to hear about how my day was at work?
No.